do it. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, BJ Mambo. Tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the 5th album by the Alice Cooper Group, School's Out. School's Out was released June 1972. It was produced by, yet again, Bob Ezrin. The album features 9 tracks and has a runtime of 36 minutes and 56 seconds. I'm looking forward to doing this album because this is one that I really don't listen to too often. I don't think I ever listened to it with the headphones on, so I was definitely excited to kind of experience it in a maybe fresh way. So yeah, let's jump on into it, and I don't think we have to really introduce the first track. We all know it, we all love it. Maybe it's overplayed, but I don't know. Let's get into it. Boom. Song kicks right in. You got that great guitar riff opening. Simple. A reason why it's great, because it's simple. Drums kick in. I think a little bit of keys. Quick little keys are going on. Then you hit into Alice. Verse 1. Super catchy melody. Simple, very few words. Again, I think comes back to do with this being the massive hit that it is. I think the simplicity of the song is honestly part of the reason why it is such a massive hit. Fun little pre-chorus hitting up. That won't. Kind of building up, and then bam, chorus time. I love how musically kind of settles down a little bit. A little bit of organ is in there, but mostly just vocals. Love those kind of hit downs. They go into the first bridge. I guess we can call it a bridge. The no more pencils. Get that nice eerie. Probably some kids' voices in there, you know, Ezrin and the kids' voices. Then you go right into a guitar solo, great solo, playing a little bit of playing over the main riff, but works perfectly. Go into verse 2, half verse, and then boom, go into another chorus. And this time, if you listen, there's different guitar licks between the words. Something I never noticed before, but I think it's little things like that maybe subconsciously, when you listen to the song, maybe it stays sounding fresh, if that makes sense. Like I said, maybe you could, like, you hear it but you don't. But it's like, oh, this still sounds like... Maybe it's those little things like the switch ups and little riff changes that you may not notice, but you do. You got more kids, Ezrin and the Kids. You know, his future Ezrin albums, you'll hear a lot of kids. Go into another bridge, sounds about the same. Then you got a nice key slide going down. Schools. One more chorus, hit it hard and heavy. Got some final hits ending up the song, some sound effects. Got that bell ringing in the end, the kids screaming, and then boom, song ends. Great song. Kind of silly in a way, almost like 18. Like you think like, oh, you're screaming school's out, or I'm 18. It's kind of funny when you think about it. But totally works. I get why it's a hit. It's a great song. Listening with headphones, hearing the changes, the structure of it all, it should be a hit, you know. And maybe it's the best song on this album. Some say the only good song on this album. I'm sure there's fans out there that think that. Do I think that? I don't know. Let's go to the next one to find out. Track 2, Looney Tune, 3 minutes 44 seconds. Awesome opening riffs. Everyone's sounding great. You got a few guitars, you got the bass. Everything's sounding awesome. Kind of has a 60s vibe. When I was hearing this, I'm like, this sounds like a very 60s vibe, which they are a 60s band and should be a 60s vibe, right? The verse is catchy, it's chill. Second part of the verse musically sounds about the same. And you go into a great bridge. You got some high pitch ahs in the background, which giving it, I'm guessing it's the band doing that. Then you jump to a great guitar solo, a little bit of different distortion on the guitar, so sticking with that psychedelicness. And then you go into another change. So now, I don't know if this is becoming more of a progressive type of song, because there's multiple changes and melody and maybe tempo changes, and you jump into another one, another fun, catchy one. Then you got some strings jumping in, and then boom, we all of a sudden become a big orchestra, which again, I don't mind. You know, is it overkill? I don't know. I don't mind. It seems to work. True rock fans, I could see, would hate that stuff, but again, let's roll with it. Kind of sums up the album. That's one good thing, because there's a lot of orchestra and a lot of weird stuff that goes down in this album that you're kind of getting a sample of it maybe in this song. So If you're on board with it, you should probably be on board with the rest of the album. Then you end at a musical break, a 1:15 musical break, which is a little lengthy. But then, when you look at the song's only 3 minutes and 44 seconds, which is crazy because it's not that long. And when you think about it, there's so many changes, and this song's really is loony. It's really a loony, all over the place song. But to pack all that in, especially with an over minute musical break at the end, that's crazy that this isn't like a 5-minute song. It kind of felt like a 5-minute song. That's why I was like, wow, under 4 minutes. Good for that, man. But yeah, a cool song. Again, now listening to it in the headphones, hearing so much more, I appreciate that song a lot more. It's got some catchy stuff, got some weird stuff, and I'm down with it. So I think this album so far is off to a good but an interesting start. Track 3, Gutter Cat vs. the Jets, 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Got some acoustic. Is that an acoustic or bass? I feel like sometimes I struggle. It's either clean bass or acoustic is opening it. Kind of builds up a little bit. Whatever it is, someone comment please. Maybe I'm musically challenged, but it was awesome. Get those organs coming in. Quick little verse comes in. Super toe tappy, catchy. All right, man. I'm feeling this, man. This is so far sounds like the most fun song so far. A little bit more lighter than the first two, perhaps, but yeah, okay. Like how the guitar and keys kind of go back and forth. They're almost kind of like a little competition going on, which is fun. Bass really standing out more in this one. Comes to a little break. Alice does some meowing, some catting around. Verse 2 comes in, repeats the second part of verse 1, so you got a little bit of repeating verse happening. Jumps to another solo. Nice chill solo, more meows. Then Alice starts doing some sing-talking. Get some like marching, almost drums happening. And then boom. Come to that West Side Story. You know, which is a fun, catchy riff. Again, kind of random. I know this is another kind of callback to their second album, Easy Action. They have little West Side Story moments, so it's cool that they're kind of coming back, but still kind of random. But again, this whole album's kind of random. And this whole album has a very musical type of vibe and feel, which, again, I think you could either be on board with or be, you know, turned off by. You know, I roll with it, I guess. It's not bad. Track 4, Street Fight, 55 seconds. Quick transition. End track 3. This jumps right in. Might as well be the same track. Track 3, cool track. Bizarre, interesting. This one, I don't know why this had to be its own track. All it is kind of like a street fight, back alley. Again, I get it, West Side Story, you got this in here, but to be a whole track, I know it's 55 seconds, but get those cat meowing in there, it's like, I don't know, it just seemed like kind of a cop-out. It was kind of weird. I don't understand this one. So let's, what's that next, track 5? The last song on side A. So let's just like, track 5, Blue Turk, 5 minutes, 34 seconds. Great opening bass. Now we're talking. Get that fun key riff, kind of almost uplifting. Alice comes in. It's very, you know, going back to that like the jazzy blue. I don't know what it. I don't know what you would call this, but again, sounds like it could be part of a musical. But his voice is sounding good, showing more of his range. And you got some saxophone coming in. Is that what's coming in during the chorus? But again, I thought it fit the song pretty well. Now you got verse 2. Some horns going on now, switching it up. So nice little change of pace with the verses. Then you go into a solo, more saxophone, and then boom, it just becomes a full-fledged horn fest. Becomes this big orchestra, this big, you know, guitar is very, very little. Maybe just some clean guitar going on, but it's all horn, man. Horn central going on. And it's okay. But this goes on for about 2 minutes, which is like, okay, did this have to go on for 2 minutes? This is a long song. And I think, I like the song, but I think this is probably too long. And in the 2 minute saxophone horn off thing, you know, I don't know. Then it goes back to that riff at the beginning. It's like, okay, the song's wrapping up, but it doesn't. You kick into another verse, And here's where the song really dragged. It should have ended there. So you got this verse. It's not a full verse. It's half. Do we really need that once more? Do we really need that? You know, they got some nice clean bass. Boom, 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 boom. Like going down. Bam, bam, bam. Get the weird like horn fart. Especially with the headphones, you really hear it. Horn fart, we can call it. I don't know what that's called. But yeah, I don't know. That song was kind of long. A weird closer. Again, this is a 9-track album, and I've talked about this before. I'm weirded out by the odd number of tracks because, again, where's the halfway point? Like, I wouldn't think this was the closer. Honestly, I think when I had this CD for years, I thought Blue Turk was the opener to side B. I didn't know that this was the closer to side A, and it just doesn't really... I don't know. It's not closer material. It's weird. It used to be my favorite song on this album for a while. Now it's like, it's got some cool stuff, but kind of lengthy. Just like me talking about this. Probably a little bit too long. So let's flip her on over and go to the next track. Track 6, My Stars. 5 minutes, 49 seconds. You get that, let's say, beautiful piano riff going on. Weird to open a side with this song. And here's where I start kind of getting weirded out. After track 5 and on, I feel like the structure of the album kind of starts getting a little bit sloppy, and I think it starts with this one. Alice comes in, the melody's catchy, it has some form of sound effect, distortion on his voice, but for this kind of song, I think it works. Not too crazy about the chorus, you know, you know, that part, like, I always kind of felt that was maybe a little bit, I don't want to say obnoxious, that sounds harsh, and it's not bad. I mean, musically, it's still cool. It's a downward thing, and I love those little guitar, like, that's awesome. So I don't want to say harshly it's obnoxious, but it's my least favorite part of the song, I guess. Then you got a great solo kicking in. Maybe one of the best so far. Going to second verse, maybe a little bit of double time music, a little bit bigger. Now guitar's kind of really taking the second verse going on. It was piano at first, now I feel like the guitar is it's the guitar's turn. Then you go into an outro, a pretty long outro. I think a 1 minute 45 second outro. So another lengthy musical section. A great powerful ending. I think some talking, some voice, something's going on in the background. Kind of makes you think of a Beatles. I feel like this is a very Beatles sound, especially this part at the end, which then kind of goes back to their original Alice Cooper sound, which was kind of a Beatles, psychedelic Beatles sound. So this actually might be the closest sound to their first 2 albums than any other song so far, and maybe ever again. But as a nice ending, I like it. But again, for an opener, I do not understand it. This would have been a perfect closer. This should have closed side A. If this was track 5, close it, maybe opened with something else. But opening the album, I just don't get the structure. And here's where, like I said, I think the album starts kind of just getting sloppy, I think. And now I'm enjoying it so far. And it is very musically heavy, and that's okay. Again, it goes with the whole musical feel. Yeah, great song though. Beautiful song. That's a nice song, man. I dig it, man. But yeah, maybe it should have just been track 5. I think it would have worked better. So let's, what we got now? 7? 7. Track 7. Public Animal number 9. 3 minutes and 55 seconds. Great drum opening. See, this should have opened side B. This should have been track 6. I don't know why. This would have been perfect. Love the hey, hey, hey. You know, super catchy. Verse comes in, super catchy. You're kind of jamming out to this one. I don't hear any keys or horns, so this is really more of a raw rocker, which this album definitely needed. The chorus is catchy, but the first part of it really reminds me of this Paul McCartney song, Too Many People, which I'll sample. But listen to both of these and tell me if you hear a similarity.
Too many people.
But yeah, so I don't know. You know, what are you going to do? Coincidence maybe, rip-off maybe. The Paul McCartney was a year or 2 before this, so we'll never know. Oohs and ahs sound great. Guitar sounds great. Yeah, this is really, maybe besides School's Out, the heaviest song so far, and I like the lack of keys and horns. Like, again, I think this album needs this song. Verse 2 comes in. There are a little bit of keys in there, but so subtle. I think just playing along with the guitar, which is always a nice touch. And even got some claps in there. You know, let's get some claps. Chorus sounds about the same. Then you got a great solo. Now you got a little bit of piano. One more hey, 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 and then we got that nice ending. Alice is screaming, howling, you know, getting real loud, and starts doing the heavy. I sound like I'm going crazy right here. He's doing those heavy growls, and yeah, great song. This should have opened it. I don't know why it didn't open it, but I feel like it picked up the past couple songs. I don't know. This was a good song, and I think we got two left. Who knows? So let's get back. Let's get into it. Track 8, Alma Mater, 4 minutes and 27 seconds. You got the lightning, thunder, cracking. Hear the rain sound effect. Then you got that kind of, you know, it sounds like desert, fireplace, cowboy hats. You know, that's the vibe you're going on. I think Alice's voice comes in. Has definitely some form of distortion effect on it, but I think it works perfect, especially for a closer. I know there's one more track, but let's just call this the last song. But I tell you, I really like this melody. In fact, you know, this, I think, in my opinion, is the most catchy melody on this album. And I actually really enjoy this song, and even listening to it again, definitely with the headphones this time, I'm like, oh man, I really like this song. I love this song, man. It's probably one of my favorite songs on this album. I like how bass kind of comes in halfway through the verse. It's kind of picking it up. Get some now double vocal going on, 2 tracks. I don't know if it's to Alice or it's Alice and someone else. Probably Alice and someone else, but it sounds great together. We go back to the opening riff, kind of talking, doing that little section. Get like this Hawaiian sound, guitar coming in. Just switching it up again. This is another interesting song, but I'm really digging it. Then you got some oohs, and he starts giving the whole rundown. Remember when we put that snake down little? You got that whole thing. I don't know what the story behind that is, but you know, I guess it works. I feel like some harmonica, a little bit. We got a little bit of harmonica, I think, subtly coming in. I think Alice probably. Love the big finale. Goodbye, yeah, everybody. Like powerful. I'll tell you what, man. Out of every closing track of these first handful of Cooper albums, I think this is my favorite closer. Like Sunrise is cool. Killer on Killer has a big, you know, thing. But yeah, something about the song. I love this song, man. It's one of my favorite songs. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you like this one as much as I do? I don't know. Then you got that Wild West thing. Okay, album slowing down. Then we go right into track 9. The actual final track of the album, even though I kind of count this one, but let's finish this up. Track 9, grand finale, 4 minutes, 26 seconds. I mean, it's catchy. It really rocks at the beginning. You know, you're almost hoping this is gonna kind of become this song, and then you get into this big orchestra, this massive thing. You know, I took notes in the song, but it's kind of hard to talk about. It's random, you know, but again, this whole album's kind of random, and it has that musical theme that, okay, this is kind of the outro. Like, if this was like a theater play, which I don't know, was that the intention when they did this album? Did they kind of think this could be a play? Unless there already is a play, but if not, it probably could be. But you get that really triumphant, I mean, it's cool. But I would have to say it is definitely negative of this album. You know, Killer, the last album, had that, 3-minute finale section at the end of the final track of that horror kind of Halloween music. This one's the opposite. This is more, like I said, triumphant, big orchestra, you know, like, which, I don't know, I just picture sitting there, even when this album came out, like, I want to know, when everyone was sitting there listening to it on the record player, were they just thinking, like, what is going on? Like, what is this? So, I don't know. Again, it's some catchy stuff. Everyone sounds good. It's powerful. You go to that West Side Story thing again. Kind of full circle the album. Kind of keeping it a concept. I think this might be the most concept album so far out of these first 5. I think. At least one that seems like one. But, I don't know. You get the big bah at the end. The West Side Story thing. And then the album just ends. it ends on that. It ends on a interesting note. Final thoughts. I mean, it was fun listening to it. You know, I dig it. I can get down with the musical aspect, the West Side Story stuff. I can get down with that. I do like and respect and appreciate that this is the third Bob Ezrin album that these guys did. And each one of these albums sound pretty different. I mean, maybe Love to Death and Killer have more similarities, but this is really kind of its own thing. I feel like they're really trying stuff. They're experimenting, kind of messing with their old experimental stages and psychedelic sounds. So that was cool, bringing some of that back. But definitely super... I don't want to say overly produced, but I feel like that's a note that people get on this album. Again, 9 tracks, which I don't like. Like I said, I never knew that My Stars opened side B, and I just didn't know. Because how would you know with the CD, you know? And another thing, this has 9 tracks, but 2 of the 9 tracks, you got that street fight thing track, and then this grand finale, which should have just been like maybe taped at the end of the one song maybe. So that's only 7 songs. You know, I feel like you're almost kind of getting gypped out of songs a little bit. Like, you know, I don't know if things were rushed or what the situation was. You know, it was the following year. I'm guessing they toured their first 2 albums and then jumped right into this. And this became massive and the song became massive, which well-deserved, you know, single. It you know, makes perfect sense. But yeah, I don't know. This album, it's got some great moments, some great songs. Public Animal number 9 really stood out. Like, I always like Alma Mater. But I don't know, structurally, I feel like this one is the most sloppy in a way. Or kind of, I don't know, maybe things were switched around a little bit. Maybe this album could have felt a little bit smoother. And just like that, the video's over. You guys made it this far. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I post weekly. Feel free to like, subscribe, come back. Definitely comment. I would love to hear fans' thoughts of this album. I feel like this is another mixed one. Either you love it, you like it, or I don't think anyone hates this album, but maybe people do because it is kind of weird. And I don't even know how I feel about it. But it was a fun album. And, you know, as an Alice Cooper fan, or if you want to get into Alice Cooper, or at least the original band Alice Cooper, I guess you should give this one a check out because, you know, why not? So I don't know, guys. Next album is a bigger one, Billion Dollar Babies, 1973. What said their most popular album is what a lot of rankings and fans say, and I get it. It's definitely a big album. I think another Bob Ezrin, so that's 4 in a row. But yeah, I guess that's all we could say about this album. Thanks for watching again, guys, and catch you in the next one. See ya.